Welcome to the Desautels Faculty of Music and School of Art Fire Safety Training. Why we do this training? We care about your safety. Many people are unnecessarily injured by fire each year. There will be times when students are in the building with no staff or faculty member support. Students need to know what procedures to follow to keep everyone safe. Objectives: to have an understanding of fire and the dangers of it, to be able to identify and reduce the risk of fire, to know what to do when the fire alarm sounds, to know what to do if you find a fire. What is the difference between a hazard and a risk? A hazard is something that has the potential to harm you. Risk is the likelihood of a hazard causing harm. Prevention is only effective when all individuals play a role. If one person creates or doesn't report a fire hazard, all other prevention strategies may be ineffective. By building awareness and training all students on proper fire prevention procedures, we can ensure they will always be followed. This lowers the risk of any fire-related incidents. If you see a potential fire hazard, please report immediately to Sue Stone Scott, Facilities Coordinator. Take appropriate cautions based on identified hazards. Be careful with explosive materials and ensure only trained professionals are in the area where they are being used. Do not overload outlets. Extension cords should only be used temporarily and never be left plugged in. Unplug appliances when not in use or at the end of the day after use. Do not bend or crush cords. Provide adequate space for electronics and other equipment that produce heat. Do not store combustible materials such as paper or fabrics near equipment that produce heat. Store all chemicals in lockup cabinets. Properly store boxes, equipment, and other large items when not in use. Quickly and appropriately dispose of spills and garbage. Keep spaces tidy. The fire triangle. Fire needs 3 things to burn: heat, ignition source, fuel, and oxygen, air. Fire is the chemical reaction that occurs when these 3 things are present and the conditions are right. Removing any one of these 3 things can cause the fire to go out. Sources of ignition: electrical equipment, heaters, hot plates, kettles, contractors' tools and equipment. Heat is responsible for the ignition of a fire and is needed to maintain the fire and enable it to spread. It does this by drying out and preheating nearby fuel and warming surrounding air. Fuels: paper and boxes, expanded polystyrene beads, plastics, solvents, carpets, furniture, and waste materials. Fuel is any kind of combustible material. It is characterized by moisture content, size, shape, quantity, and the arrangement which it is spread over an area. Oxygen. Air contains about 21% oxygen, and most fires require at least 16% oxygen to burn. Oxygen supports the chemical processes that occur from the surrounding air, releasing heat and generating gases, smoke, and embers. Always close doors during a fire alarm to help stop oxygen from feeding a fire. Where are the nearest exits from this floor and building? Where are the fire alarm pull stations? Fire extinguishers, evacuation route maps, and muster points. Emergency maps are located throughout the Desautels Faculty of Music and School of Art facilities. Please familiarize yourself with them. Taché exits. Ceramics and art barn exits. Art lab exits. Taché Arts Complex and Art Lab muster points. Ceramics, sculpture, and art barn muster points. Should you discover or suspect a fire, react. Remove yourself and others from immediate danger. Exit the building via nearest emergency exit. Activate the nearest manual pull station as you exit the building if alarm has not been automatically activated. Close doors behind you and do not lock as you leave areas. When you have reached the outside, move away from the building to your muster point. Telephone 911 from any cell phone, 4-911 or 555 or 911 from a landline. Number sign 555 from a cell phone, Rogers or MTS, to report the fire location once you are outside the building. Do not assume this has been done. Upon hearing fire alarm, leave the building immediately via nearest exit. Close all doors behind you. Do not lock. Leave lights on. Proceed to your assigned muster point and remain outside the building until you are instructed it is safe to re-enter. If you encounter heavy smoke, crawl below the smoke layer to the nearest exit. Stay in or return to your workspace if you are unable to exit. Call 911 from any cell phone or 4-911 or 911 or 555 from a landline, or number sign 555 from a cell phone, Rogers or MTS, and await further instructions from the 911 operator. Here is an example of our fire alarm. Thank you for attending, and if you have any questions, please contact the Chief Fire Warden, Sue Stone Scott.